Hello everyone, and welcome to the Animation Therapist channel. In this episode, we will be discussing the different ways by which covert narcissists act out the passive aggression. Over time, a lot of people going through relationship distress most time believe that their partner is a narcissist. In this episode, we will explore who a covert narcissist is, the behavioral attributes of a covert narcissist, and how they act out their passive and subtle aggression. To do justice to this discussion is no other person than Dr. Palmer, who is a frequent guest on this platform. Welcome to the Animation Therapist channel, once again Dr. Palmer.
Thank you for having me on the Animation Therapist channel.
Yeah, let's go into the business of the day. Who exactly is a covert narcissist?
There are different ways in which we can describe the variations in narcissistic behaviors. One of which is covert narcissists. Other forms of narcissistic behaviors may include overt narcissism, malignant narcissism, antagonist narcissism, and communal narcissism. So typically a covert narcissist is a form of narcissist who exhibits subtle, indirect, and manipulative behaviors to achieve their own ends, often hiding behind a mask of humility, vulnerability, or innocence.
Thank you, Dr. Palmer, for that simple explanation. Going forward, can you explain to us the key attributes that distinguishes a covert narcissist from other types of narcissist?
Most narcissists exhibit similar features, but may have certain attributes that are more pronounced than the other. For a covert narcissist, hidden grandiosity is usually pronounced. They have an inflated sense of self-importance, but conceal it behind a mask of humility or modesty. Another pronounced attribute of a covert narcissist is what I like to call a passive-aggressive behavior. They usually express negative feelings indirectly, through actions or subtle comments. They also use guilt, self-pity, or emotional blackmail to control others, more than the other forms of narcissism. They may also appear distant, unresponsive, or uninterested in others' feelings, portraying themselves as victims, seeking sympathy and attention.
Great insight. Can you then tell us more about a covert narcissist, especially as it has to do with having a narcissistic partner?
Good question. Typically, a covert narcissist won't tell you outright what is bothering them, but will instead let their cold behavior towards you let you know something is up. Passive aggressiveness in a covert narcissist can be seen via the narcissist becoming angry, hostile, and they'll often offer a fake helpfulness with no intention of ever helping you. These passive-aggressive behaviors are expressed in covert ways, which are used to give the narcissist an underhanded advantage over the situation. If a covert narcissist feels threatened, they'll use passive-aggressive behavior to ensure they are in control of the situation. These passive-aggressive tactics are a stealthy way to exact punishment on those who dare to hurt their fragile ego. With a covert narcissist, this passive aggression will offer a thinly disguised sense of superiority, entitlement, and is an inadvertent way to showcase their conceited view of the world. A covert narcissist is inclined to become hostile if they don't get their own way. Even if their requests or demands are unreasonable, they'll devise stealthy yet destructive ways to make you miserable for hurting the delicate sense of entitlement.
Can you please highlight other features of a covert narcissist, in addition to the features you mentioned earlier?
Alright. Just like I mentioned earlier, they exhibit similar characters like other narcissists, but the frequency and severity at which they exhibit certain narcissistic behaviors may differ. Other features worth noting is gaslighting, which means to manipulate someone by psychological means into doubting their own sanity. Another common attribute of covert narcissist is indirect bragging. They subtly draw attention to their achievements or qualities, without appearing outrightly boastful. They tend to be more subtle in their self-aggrandizement compared to overt narcissist. An example can be making self-depreciating remarks with the expectation that others will contradict them and offer praise. Covert narcissists use this indirect bragging to avoid direct confrontation or to maintain the image of humility or modesty while still feeding their need for administration and validation. They may also show attributes of envy and criticism. They criticize or envy others' success, achievements, or possessions. They are not openly boastful, but they mask their envy and criticism in ways that are less obvious but still harmful. For covert narcissists, they frequently and constantly compare themselves to others and feel inferior if others appear more successful or happier. They often downplay the accomplishments of others to feel superior. It's also important to note that, Most times, their criticism are often veiled as a constructive feedback or concern but are intended to belittle their partner or the other person. They may end up setting unrealistic high standards for others or their partner, and then go ahead to criticize them for failing to meet these standards. These attributes usually have a psychological impact on their partner, as it significantly undermines the self-esteem of the people around them, leading to self-doubt and a diminished sense of self-worth. They are also known for chronic lying. They may deceive others to achieve their own ends or maintain a false image. As much as we know that anyone can lie, a covert narcissist consistently displays these behaviors over time.
Thank you for the comprehensive explanation. I would like to ask you this question. Can you tell us what passive aggression is to a covert narcissist?
Passive-aggressive behaviors are expressed in covert ways, which are used to give the narcissist an underhanded advantage over the situation. If a covert narcissist feels threatened, they'll use passive-aggressive behavior to ensure they are in control of the situation. These passive-aggressive tactics are a stealthy way to exact punishment on those who dare to hurt their fragile ego. With a covert narcissist, this passive aggression will offer a thinly disguised sense of superiority, entitlement, and is an inadvertent way to showcase their conceited view of the world. A covert narcissist is inclined to become hostile if they don't get their own way. Even if their requests or demands are unreasonable, they'll devise stealthy yet destructive ways to make you miserable for hurting the delicate sense of entitlement.
Thanks for that response. Can you now show us the different ways in which a covert narcissist manifests the passive aggression?
Thanks for that good question. I'll be sharing 4 examples of passive aggression by a covert narcissist. The first I'll talk about is verbal hostility. For a covert narcissist, putting other people down makes them feel self-assured and superior. Making you feel inadequate and insecure about yourself helps the narcissist relieve their own insecurities and deficiencies. This helps them seek and obtain a false sense of importance, and the critical and hostile way of speaking to you will fuel their narcissistic fire. They will, either consciously or unconsciously, spread their misery and unhappiness to those closest to them. Take for example, if I had an idea, or a plan to take up a new hobby or learn something new, a narcissist would criticize this. He would make me feel doubtful that I would have the capabilities to learn this new skill or hobby. In a nutshell, this passive-aggressive verbal hostility from the narcissist is their habitual criticism of your ideas, experiences and feelings. The second form I'll talk about is what I call hostile humor. Very thinly veiled hostile banter, or joking is often followed by the phrase, "I was just kidding," or, "Can't you take a joke?" Sarcastic, hostile humor offered from a covert narcissist is their way of expressing their internal anger, rejection or disapproval towards you. However, with a covert narcissist, nothing is ever upfront. Instead of outright telling you that they're feeling negatively towards you, they'll use humor as a seemingly playful way to make you feel less credible, doubtful and stupid. The hidden intentions behind the humor are quite sinister. The narcissist uses humor as one of their many weapons to berate you covertly. When this is done in public or in front of an audience, especially when those around you laugh at the narcissist's comments, you will undoubtedly feel discredited, rejected and downright silly. The third is what I call blaming. A covert narcissist will blame others for their own failures, irresponsibility and negligence. If the narcissist fails to, or is unwilling to follow reasonable requests, show professional conduct or even abide by social norms, this is never their fault. Someone else will always get the blame. Blaming is a form of gaslighting, for which narcissists are renowned for. The intention behind the blameful behavior is to avoid any responsibility, by manipulating the facts of the situation. A covert narcissist will distort your perception of a situation or conversation, therefore making it easier to place blame elsewhere. Often the covert narcissist will misdirect the blame onto you, thus taking the focus off the real issue at hand, their own failures and bad behavior. If you have spent a long time in narcissistic, abusive relationships, you are likely going to feel the heavy burden of blame on your shoulders quite frequently. Take for example, a narcissistic husband who went out drinking and didn't return until the next day. He would likely attribute the blame to the wife for stressing him out, to the point that he didn't want to come home. If the narcissist husband was late for work, this would be the fault of the wife, for not waking him up earlier. The final one I'll mention is covert sabotage. Covert sabotage is the narcissist's way of sneakily administering their punishment on you in a very disguised way. Examples of this could be the narcissist deliberately disclosing hurtful and harmful information, or deliberately obstructing any positive endeavors, or harmful information, or deliberately obstructing any positive endeavors or communications. Other examples could be the narcissist deliberately undermining any agreements you've made with them. The narcissist could also purposely overspend your agreed budget, this causing you financial difficulty, but of course, you'd be the person who was handed the blame for this.
These are helpful information that you've communicated to us, Dr. Palmer. We have to end this episode at this point. And if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section, or send it via our email. I believe you have learned quite a lot from this episode. Kindly like, comment and share this video. And if you are yet to subscribe to the Animation Therapist channel, please do so as to be able to reach out to more people, and create more mental health awareness. Thank you for watching, and look out for the next episode. Cheers.